Hello, everybody, and thank you very much for joining me today. It's Allan Laboucan with the Rocks and Stocks News website. We've got another in our interviews with CEOs of mining companies, and today we've got one of our sponsors, website sponsors in i-80 Gold. They just announced some excellent results, including 16.3 grams of gold over 15.7 meters. 33.7 grams of gold over 3.7 meters. This is in their whole IGS 21-18. It has a lot of other characteristics to it that Ewan will just tell you about. Ewan, thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me on again.
I can see some high grade over thick intersections there, Ewan, but it all has a lot to do with the structure as well and where you are in relation to your underground workings. I think you've got some images that can help us understand all that.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'll share my screen and I can take you through a bit of where we are and the significance of this new discovery area that we're drilling.
That sounds good. They say a picture tells a story, and you've got a great one, Ewan.
Thank you. Yeah. So what we have on this current slide that's on the screen now is the geological package here, and what's really important for mineralization, especially where we are at Granite Creek, is this major fault structure that runs along the eastern contact of the Osgood Mountain Stalk. That's the intrusive complex for this area and likely the heat engine for most of the mineralization here. And on the east contact of that, there's in purple in this image is the Comus Formation limestone rock units, which are the favored host rock for high-grade mineralization in this district. So there was some near surface open pit mining done historically at Pinson. And then to the north, there's the Turquoise Ridge and Twin Creeks operations. So, and down here is Summer Camp. So a bit further down is the old Summer Camp deposit. So there's been a number of mining operations along this contact, and the Comus Formation dips east here. And collectively, this ore body up to the north, or these two ore bodies, hosts about 50 million ounces of gold. So we're talking truly elephant country we're working in. And we sit in a pretty much identical geological package of the Twin Creeks operation. And that's where the drilling we're doing is, we're announcing right now. The South Pacific Zone is the northern extension.
I just wanted to maybe put it into less geo speak for people there. What Ewan's talking about is a rock package that is the heat engine for these gold-bearing fluids, and that fault is likely the crack in the earth that allows those fluids to make their way towards the surface. Did I get that right, Ewan?
Yeah, it's a good simplified version of it. Yeah.
Good.
And then so we're targeting mineralization. The underground workings where we are right below this pit. So a little hard to see in this image, but we're underground in this area. But the South Pacific Zone is in the northern part of our property, sort of heading up towards Turquoise Ridge. And that's where the excitement that we have coming out that we feel is really exciting at this project. So this section that you see here is the South Pacific Zone drilling, and hole 18, the intercept of 16 grams, it is situated right here. So it's kind of right in between the OG and the South Pacific Zone, so the southern extension. But this image really is a plan view looking down into the 3D view of the mineralization, and all these holes are the holes we've been drilling for about the last 6 months, 7 months into this zone since we drilled our first hole here. And what's really remarkable is the continuity of mineralization. So this table and the subsequent one is every hole we've drilled so far. So hole 2 was drilled into another target. That's why it's not contained in this table. And then holes 13, 14, and 15 were drilled in other targets. But we started drilling this zone in 2021. As you can see here, widths of 10 meters of 14 grams, 5 of 16, 6 of 5, 3 of 17, 3.4 of 22, 3.8. It's every hole that we drill, 5.5 of 25, 9 of 11, 5 of 15. And then today's
everything's over 5 grams. And you know, you and I have talked in the past about the importance of continuity. You know, you can have high grade here, there, and spread out all over the place, but that really doesn't make a mine. It's when you get the continuity that you have, that's where you get a lot of ounces that you can mine profitably.
Yeah, and the whole the primary hole in today's release is this intercept in 18, and 18 was 3.7 meters of 33 grams and 15 over 16. But then the last 2 holes, we've released all the holes from last year. We're still drilling this zone. We've got probably at least 15 holes now completed in 22. So it'd be a lot of news continuing to flow from here as we continue to step out and hopefully make this deposit bigger and bigger. But you know, the main zone in hole 18 was 15 meters at 16 grams. In hole 19 was 10 meters at 15 grams. And in hole 20, one of these 2 intercepts, I believe it's the second one, 17 over 3. So just every single hole is hitting high grade mineralization. True widths are estimated between 70 and 90%. So we're seeing good mineable widths. Not vertical, but near vertical structure. So we're optimistic we can implement some long hole mining. But when you look at the bigger picture, this is a long section. The South
Pacific. I just wanted to point out to our viewers that prior to us starting, you mentioned that in your career, you've never had a program that has gone this well. And you know, every hole hitting over 5 grams and all the way up into bonanza grades there. I think that's why you feel that way. Am I right?
Yeah, I was saying that before we started here. That
yeah.
It's pretty rare that you get a project that you drill off. As you know, often you drill, you get a few good hits, a few misses, and you know, they call it a nugget effect in ore bodies, and that can often be real, but it's really just the continuity here. It's every hole we drill into this horizon tends to hit mineralization. And there's a couple of historic holes just off this where we've got our model's shape here that hit again plus 10 gram material. So the next drilling we're going to be doing is stepping out to the north. And there's actually an old hole drilled by Homestake about 25 years ago off this page, deeper hole that also hit high grades. So we think the top of mineral.
That direction is the direction that the key package of rocks going. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're looking west. So the intrusive sits behind this. And then Turquoise Ridge would be to the right or to the north in this image. And so we're heading towards our property boundary as we run that way. And at our property boundaries, Nevada Gold Mines. So the Turquoise Ridge project is immediately to the north there. But we think the top of the high grade mineralization is roughly where this dotted line is. We have to do some drilling out here, but it's completely open to the north and completely open at depth. And as you can see, some of our deeper holes here, 25 grams over 5 meters, 17 over 4 and 11 over 9 in this area. So bodes well for expansion opportunity. And then hole 18 was a southern extension here, actually getting pretty close to our OG zone, which is the primary zone we're going to be mining underground. So we're pretty excited, Alan. That's just about the only way I can say is
I don't blame you, Hugh. And then you start connecting the dots there, and I mean, you have more density of drilling up in the OG zone, but even in you go deeper, all those holes seem to be lining up. Those dots seem to be lining up quite nicely.
Yeah, they are. And what we're seeing, the other thing to point out is if you look at hole 18, we actually hit 4 high grade structures, not just one. And we did the same in hole 19. We had 4 high grade structures. So there's multiple zones. We think there's probably a primary zone with splay faults, and it'll be modeling up those splay faults as we tighten up the density of drilling that will allow us to get to a resource at the end of this year. for this zone, and we think it'll add a lot of ounces. So that's and because of the continuity we're seeing, we're already starting to drive the decline deeper, and we hope in 23 to be drifting over, drilling this from underground, and hopefully sometime in 2023 we'll see the South Pacific zone move into our mine plan. So we're pretty happy about how things have gone so far, and hope it just continues to get bigger.
Going back to those dots lining up, you and I think it shouldn't be lost on people that you can see the underground workings there, and then just riddled with whole those dots of high grade all over the place right underneath that underground workings.
Yeah, the OG zone is actually the next zone that we're going to be drilling. We just started. We put some additional infrastructure underground so that we could target the down dip extension of the OG zone. That is the primary zone we expect to be mining over the next 12 to 18 months. And we're just breaking into it underground. So we're just preparing the OG for mining. We've taken out some stopes out of the upper Otto and Adam Peak zones already, stockpiled that material, but it's really the OG that is the main target for us in the near term for mining. And we drilled a deeper hole earlier, was announced earlier this year, but it was drilled last year. And we hit over 70 meters, if you recall that one, of over 7 grams with 3 high grade intervals of 10 grams or better within that. And that was one of the deepest holes ever drilled down here into OG. So we're infilling this area, and we're just going to be starting to release results because we started drilling late last year, and assays are taking a while. So we're going to start seeing the first results from the OG zone here very shortly. And in 2022 in underground drilling, it's our primary focus right now. So we've got multiple underground drills really targeting the OG zone to get prepared for additional mining, but also to start driving it to depth. And ultimately, we'd like to think that when we get down to this depth, we're going to be mining the OG in the South Pacific out of the same mine workings, and that'll open up a lot of faces. As you can see, the strike length of high-grade mineralization near surface is only about 200 meters, whereas at depth, it's over 600 meters and open. So it
seems to be on a getting higher grade as you get deeper. There's a horizon there that looks like you've got multiple hits over 600 meters.
Yeah, these red dots you see here are some historic holes that hit between 5 and 10 grams in this structure. And then there is drilling up here towards surface, but it hit less than 5 grams. So it seems that at least in the South Pacific zone area, that at a depth of about 250, 300 meters is where the grade really starts to pick up. And if you look to the north at Turquoise Ridge, the main deposit was discovered below 2,000 feet. And we're at about 1,600 feet right here. So we're just getting into the depths where Turquoise Ridge really picked up to the north.
Because it looks to me like the 11, 10, the 12, and 18 are kind of on a horizon there, that they're all kicking out some awesome holes.
Yeah, it's definitely showing good promise for becoming a part of our resource at the end of the year. We've got 15 or 16 holes drilled in 21 into the target, and we'll drill at least that this year, probably more like 30 or 40. So there should be pretty steady news. We haven't released any 22 holes, but with the slow service getting from labs these days, we're just really starting to get a regular flow of results now, and that should mean that we continue to be pretty newsworthy throughout the balance of this year.
You and I, as you were talking about this, I kept thinking, you guys are in a really enviable position. I watch a lot of exploration projects, and one enviable position is continuity. The second one is when you make a new discovery, you're usually looking at 7 to 10 years to get money out of that and start producing. You guys have that in the immediate horizon. and you've got this high grade continuity. That's a hell of a combination.
Yeah, and then we acquired the autoclave from Nevada Gold Mines, that's just south of our project, and we are looking to retrofit that, get it ready for our own needs so that we can process for ourselves. But in the interim, Nevada Gold Mines has provided us with a processing contract, and we'll be able to process the material we mine here in the near future at their site. The one I showed where Twin Creeks was immediately to the north there, they've given us 1,000 tons a day of capacity at their facility until we get our own site up and running. So that's a real key element to us being able to hopefully move to cash flow at this project fairly quickly. And they did give us some really good terms. We've got a good working relationship with Nevada Gold Mines down there. They're the big boys, so to speak, in Nevada, but we've built a pretty good relationship in the past, and we continue to foster that relationship, and we're working together in milling, and probably be some other areas we'll work together in the future.
Well, you know, it kind of erases the Lassonde curve, that lull between discovery and production, and you've narrowed that down to next to nothing. And so, you know, it's quite a unique situation as far as I can see out there.
Yeah, we expect to be moving material to Twin Creeks in about mid-year this year. So right now we're stockpiling, and we'll be stockpiling until about mid-year, and then we're going to start regular shipments of mineralization up to their facility. It's our goal to get up to about 450 tons per day by the end of this year. And as we continue to drive the decline deeper, open up more faces over the next 12 months, then we hope to be in the position to fulfill our arrangement with Nevada Gold Mines by the end of next year and provide them with 1,000 tons a day of mineralization. And at these grades, that should generate some pretty good ounces for our company.
Some free cash flow there.
Yeah, we expect so. Yeah.
Well, you know, and if this was your only project, I think it's an excellent story for investors. But this isn't your only project. You've been drilling away at Ruby Hill, and there's some enthusiasm going around from the rocks you guys have been showing in your drill core. So where do you stand on that? You guys expecting some of that to start coming in soon?
Yeah, we started drilling Ruby Hill late last year. Following the acquisition of that project, we immediately moved in 3 drill rigs. I think we got 5 holes completed in 21. We haven't released any yet, but next week is our Investor Day presentation on, I'll put in a little plug for that right now, that next Tuesday after the market closes, 4:30, we've got a webcast conference call that we're presenting our success that we think we've seen in broad strokes across our portfolio in our first year of existence. Like, we're only a year old, and so the 21 drilling from Ruby Hill we expect to announce, and really that'll be something we're expecting to showcase at our Investor Day presentation. So been on timing there. We're still waiting on some check assays and that to be prepared, but you know, we've had core in our detailed geology presentations we give to investors and people. We've been showing core. It's a big system. It was drilled about 20-25 years ago, and we believe it's got the potential to be a multi-million ounce gold deposit, and hopefully our first results will show that. And we've got a lot of additional drilling completed in 22. So much like Granite Creek, it should be a very newsworthy project going forward starting next week.
Well, I'm looking forward to that presentation, and I hope our investors or our audience will check in on that. I'm sure you just go to your website, right? And there's the invitation for it, Ewan?
Yeah, on our website or in the press release today at the bottom, it had all the particulars. And there'll probably be a couple of other news releases coming out in advance of the AGM, and we'll keep highlighting that so people have it in front of them, and we're hoping to have really good attendance. It's we think it's pretty exciting times for our company, and all of management will be there presenting various components of what we're doing. Matt Gilley, Matt Golat, Ryan Snow will also be presenting, looking at our financials. Matt Gilley will be talking about our development, where we are with the mill retrofit, where we are in building McCoy Cove, where we are in developing Granite Creek, and when we can maybe expect to see Ruby Hill go forward. So, and Matt Golat's gonna, earlier in the year, we put out that scorecard for people to keep track of what we're doing. And I think we're checking off every box we said we would. And if all goes well, we should see a couple more of those boxes get checked here in the near future.
That sounds awesome, Ewan. Great, great invitation there. And I think a good spot for us to close on, because it sounds like we'll have more to talk about real soon.
Yeah, we should. So hopefully I'll be talking to you again in the very near future. And thanks for keeping us in your mind when you see our results. We're pretty proud of what we're doing, and we like to show them off.
I'm pumped about what you've already reported, and I've been looking at that Ruby Hill stuff, and that looks like some sweet looking drill core. So keep my fingers crossed that the lab delivers you something really good to talk about.
Yeah, me too.
All right, Ewan, I'm going to close it off here, and we can have a chat at the end. Okay. So there you go, folks. When I think of i-80, it reminds me a lot of my early career when I watched the success of Barrick Gold. They were just a junior company that started producing in Nevada, and now they're the household name in the industry. And I can see a lot of similarities to the path of that success with i-80 Gold. And Ewan mentioned earlier a checklist of things that they've been working on. And I firmly believe that if they check off all those things on the list like they are, that's the making of a multi-billion-dollar Nevada gold-focused company. And they have a very modest valuation relative to that potential. So I think for investors that want a little less risk, but have lots of upside potential, i-80 should be high on your list of your shopping list. As always, my shows are for information purposes only. It's important for you to do your homework, speak with your financial advisors. I'm a big proponent of doing your homework. Check out their news releases. They put a lot of great images in it. Check out their corporate presentation, and for sure, go to that webinar they're having next week, because I think you'll see some good stuff in there that helps you really grasp the realistic potential that these guys have in front of them. So on that note, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.